The soul of every computer is its OS, the operating system. There are many operating systems in existence today, and we are going to discuss about the two basic ones, Linux and Unix. There has been much discussions and debate going on comparing both of these. Though Linux is derived from Unix, they're different operating systems, right? So today we're going to put an end to this debate. Hey guys, welcome back to yet another interesting video on a versus topic, and today we're going to discuss all about Linux versus Unix. So before we proceed forward, do subscribe to Intellipaat's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Now let's have a look at the agenda for today's video. First and foremost, we'll understand what exactly are both Linux and Unix. Then we'll look into the features of both these operating systems. After that, we'll discuss the key differences between Linux and Unix based on few parameters such as invention, users, processors, source code availability, and so on. Moving on, we'll look into the limitations of both Linux and Unix, and finally, we'll conclude our video by discussing which one is better. We'll also have a short quiz at the end of the video, so make sure you put down your answers in the comment section below. Also guys, if you're looking to get certified in Linux, do check out Intellipaat's Linux certification training program. Alright guys, without any further ado, let's get started.
So guys, we're going to keep the video small and pithy and more informative, right? So as discussed, we'll first talk about the introduction of both Unix and Linux. So starting off with what exactly is Unix? So Unix was invented by Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson in the late 1970s at the Bell Labs Research Center. And it was written in C language, so the operating system is multi-user, multitasking and allowed good acceptance. Unix OS works on command line interface, or we can say CLI, right? But now there have been developments for GUI, that is graphical user interface, also on Unix systems. Unix systems are featured by modular design, which is also known as Unix philosophy, and Unix philosophy includes certain characteristics like the OS provides a set of tools and each tool performs well-defined and limited functions. For data storage plan, text is used and it has a hierarchical file system, and it also handles devices and some special kinds of inter-process communication, which is called as IPC, as files and a lot more. In the other words, you can also say that Unix is nothing but a commercial product that was sold by AT&T. It started as a one-man project under the guidance of Ken Thompson and Bell Labs, and with this time, it became the most widely used OS, and it is used in workstations, internet servers, and personal computers by HP, Intel, Solaris, and so on. Mac OS is the most popular version of Unix, which is used these days, right? Now guys, let us move forward and discuss what exactly is Linux. Linux is an operating system which was being invented by Linus Torvalds at the University of Helsinki, right, in 1991. The Linux name originated from the Linux kernel, or in other words, you can say that it is just a kernel or software and is not the full operating system like Unix, right? So, and the software is used on the computer, which allows applications and users to access the devices on the computer in order to perform some specific or defined functions. Or to make it more clear, you can consider Linux as an engine that is just a kernel, right? And Unix as a car, that is the entire operating system. Most people often get confused that Linux is a version of Unix. Let me tell you that it is not a version of Unix, rather it is a Unix-like OS or clone of Unix. It was derived from Unix, that is the same model or ideology was followed as the Unix programming environment and the Unix philosophy while developing it, right? But it does not share any files with the original version of Unix. It has gained a lot of interest and support as it is an open source that is freely available to the public. It is majorly used for computer software and hardware, tablet, PCs, frameworks, game development, and so on. There are more than 10 Linux-based mobile operating systems which are available like Ubuntu Mobile, Ubuntu Touch, Sailfish OS, and so on. And 9 out of 10 top 10 clouds run on Linux. Now, as we have discussed about both Unix and Linux, now let us move forward and discuss about the characteristics or features of both Unix and Linux OS. First and foremost, characteristics of Unix OS. Unix OS can be used as a master control program in workstations and servers. It supports multi-user and multitasking OS. Unix is considered as a very safe as it is harder to infect as the source is not available. Unix has generally closed source mode, but a few Unix projects are open source as well, such as BSD, that is Berkeley Software Distribution OS, and Illumos OS, right? Now let's move forward and discuss about the characteristics of Linux operating system. First point is that it supports multitasking. That means at a time user can open multiple terminals on a desktop with Windows and can work on them simultaneously. And it also supports multi-user programming. Right. Now the next point is that in Linux, programs consist of one or more processes, right? And each process has one or more threads here. Linux is derived from Unix, but it does not use its code. And also another point to note is that it can easily coexist along with other operating systems. Right, as we have discussed about the characteristics of both of the operating systems, now let us move forward and discuss few of the parameters based on which we'll differentiate between both Unix and Linux. So let's move forward. So guys, the first point we have here is invention. So in invention, Unix systems have various versions and these versions were invented by AT&T, whereas Linux original code was developed by Linus and the GNU Foundation. If we talk about its usage, so guys, in usage, Unix can be used in workstations, internet servers and PCs, whereas Linux OS can be installed on various things like tablet, computers, smartphones, servers, mainframes, supercomputers and so on. And also when we talk about the users, Unix was developed mainly for workstation servers and mainframes, etc. apart from OS X, right, which is designed for everyone, but Linux can be used by almost everyone, that is developers to home users and computer enthusiasts as well, right. Let's move forward and discuss about our fourth aspect, which is processor. So Unix OS is available on PARISC and Itanium machine supporting processors like SPARC, Power 86 or 64-bit, Itanium, PARISC, PowerPC and a lot more. But Linux was initially developed by Intel's 86-bit hardware processors. It is available for more than 20 different types of CPUs, which also includes an ARM, right? Now, when we talk about viruses, so in Unix, there has been around 70 to 110 viruses reported till the day. Right, whereas in case of Linux, about 50 to 90 viruses detected up till today that have been successfully removed by now. Right, now moving on to our next point, that is detection of threat. Unix users need longer wait time to get proper bug fixing patch, whereas in case of Linux, threat detection and solution is very fast as it is community driven, right? So suppose if any Linux user shows any kind of threat, qualified developers team starts working to resolve that particular threat, right? Next parameter when we talk about is the supported file systems. So guys, in Unix, the file systems supported by file types are like HFX, GPS, XFS, ZFS, etc. But in Linux, the file systems supported by file types are like DevPTs, NTFS, XFS, NFS, CRAM, FSM and so on. When we talk about their versions, so Unix systems have various versions like HPUX, BSD, AIS, etc. Whereas in case of Linux, it has different versions like Ubuntu, Red Hat, Solaris, OpenSUSE and so on. Now moving on to our next parameter, which is the portability. Unix is not portable, but Linux can be portable when it is being booted by a USB stick, right? Now talking about its interface, so Unix originally uses Bourne shell and this is also compatible with Korn, C and other graphical user interfaces, right? Whereas in case of Linux, default interface is Bash, that is Bourne again shell, right? But also supports multiple command interpreters. Now let's talk about its graphical user interfaces. Linux is command based, but some computer software distribution packages provide GUI based Linux. GNOME and KDE are majorly used GUI here, but Unix was initially command based OS, but later common desktop environment was created and most of the Unix distributors are using GNOME. Now when we talk about the cost, so different versions of Unix systems have different cost structures as per their respective vendors, but Linux is freely distributed, downloaded through website. There are paid versions as well, but there is a very little difference between the paid and unpaid versions apart from the support contract. Now moving on to our last parameter, which is source code. So guys, Unix was developed by various vendors like HP, IBM, Solaris, Intel, etc. for their business requirements, of course. So they won't distribute the source code to the public, isn't it? So however, there are few Unix source codes which are open source like NetBSD, OpenBSD and FreeBSD. Whereas Linux has been developed and the source code has been distributed or made public under GNU license. So guys, as we have discussed about the parameters, now let us move forward and discuss the limitations of both Unix and Linux. First of all, limitations of Unix. So Unix operating system is generally designed for slow computer systems. Hence, fast performance cannot be expected. Unix systems versions on different machines slightly differ, so it lacks consistency, right? So it has a rigid environment of the hardware, hence it cannot be installed on every other machine. In this, shell interface can be unsafe sometimes because typing mistakes can destroy files. and user interface is unfriendly, abrupt, and inconsistent in Unix. Most of the source code of Unix is not at all available for the general public also, right? Now, as we discussed about the limitations of Unix, now let us move forward and discuss the limitations of Linux. So the standard editions of Linux are not at all available, and Linux is, for new users at least, not as easy to use as Windows. Most of the programs that are used for Windows will only run on Linux with the help of a complicated emulator. For example, a Microsoft Office, right? So Linux has patchier support for drivers, which may result in misfunctioning of the entire system, right? So guys, as we have discussed about all the parameters for differentiating between Unix and Linux, now let me wrap up this session by discussing, according to you, which one of them is better. So guys, from my point of view, the major difference between Linux and Unix based operating systems is not in the presentation part, but at the kernel part. That is how exactly they work internally. So in other words, you can also say that the major differences between them depend upon which exact version of Linux and Unix you are comparing, right? The main reason behind the popularity of Linux is that it is an open source or freely available, whereas Unix operating systems are not at all freely available. So cost is always a major factor while choosing the technology over another, right? And Linux definitely has an edge regarding this. Linux OS is more flexible and free to modify as compared to Unix systems, and this is where Linux has more user base and popularity. But if we discuss about the commands in Unix and Linux, they are not exactly the same but are very much similar. Technical giants like HP, Intel, Solaris uses Unix internet servers and workstations and PCs, right? And Linux is widely used for computer software and hardware, tablet, gaming, mainframes, and so on. Simply put, one can easily conclude by looking at the Linux growth rate that any other OS is left far behind when it comes to the current market trend, right? And there is a high possibility that in the future, Linux may overtake Unix installation, or you can say Linux is clear winner here. Alright guys, so that's all for our discussion between Unix and Linux. Now I have a question for you. So guys, if you look at the screen right here, in the options mentioned below, which one can talk to the kernel? Is it shell script, system calls, shell, system instruction, or none of the above? You can let us know your answers in the comment section below to know if you're correct.
So guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any further queries, do let us know in the comment section below. We'll reach out to you immediately. And finally guys, thank you so much for watching this video and giving us your precious time.